Hey everyone! Today, we're going to build a complete web API using ASP.NET Core 10. We'll start from scratch using Visual Studio Create endpoints, connect a simple database, and test everything with Swagger UI. Whether you're new to ASP.NET Core or upgrading from .NET 8 or 9, this tutorial will get you ready for 2025 projects. Let's jump in. In this video, we're going to create a simple book review app. This tutorial is completely beginner-friendly, so even if it's your first time working with web APIs, don't worry. We'll go step by step together. Alright, let's get started. Inside Visual Studio, click on Create a new project. In the search bar, type Web API. You'll see multiple templates. Make sure to pick the one that supports Linux and Windows. For the project name, let's call it Book Review App. Of course, you can name it whatever you want if you're creating your own version. Totally up to you. Once that's done, click Next, choose your .NET version. We'll use .NET 10 in this tutorial. Before we click Create, let's double-check a few important settings. First, make sure OpenAPI support is enabled. This is what's going to give us Swagger, which lets us test and explore our API directly in the browser. Next, make sure the Use Controllers option is checked. This will generate a controller folder and a default weather forecast controller, so we can start building endpoints right away. Finally, under Authentication Type, select None. We'll add authentication later in the series. Once all of that looks good, go ahead and click Create. All right. Now let's clean up the default files that come with the Web API template. First, open the Controllers folder and delete the file named Weather Forecast Controller. We won't be using that in our book review app. You can also delete the Weather Forecast model file. Microsoft adds these by default, just to demonstrate how an API project works, but we're going to build everything from scratch, so we don't need them. Now, let's take a quick look at the Program.cs file. This is the entry point of our application. You can think of Program.cs as the brain of your API project. It's where we configure everything, from database connections to dependency injection, authentication, and middleware. In simple terms, middleware are the building blocks that process every HTTP request. Things like authentication, logging, exception handling, and routing all pass through here. We'll be coming back to this file throughout the tutorial as we start wiring up our database, adding identity for users, and registering our services. For now, it's good to understand that this file controls the overall pipeline of our application. Now let's start building the structure of our book review app. Inside our project, let's create a new folder and name it Models. Models are really important. They represent the data structure of your application. You can think of a model as a blueprint for your database table. Each property in the model becomes a column in the database. Inside the Models folder, let's create a new class and name it Book.cs. In this class, we'll add a few simple properties. The ID property will act as our primary key. Title is the name of the book, and release date will store when the book was published. Later, we'll connect this model to a database using Entity Framework. But for now, this gives us a clean starting point for our data layer. Now that we've created our book model, let's also add another model to represent the author. Inside the same Models folder, right-click and add a new class named Author.cs. Just like before, this model will represent another table in our database, this time for the authors who wrote the books. Let's add a few simple properties. Here will be our primary key. Name stores the author's full name, and bio will hold a short description or background information about the author. Models like book and author will help us structure our data and later define relationships between them. For example, one author can write many books. Next, let's add one more model to our project, this time for country. Inside the Models folder, right-click and add a new class named Country.cs. This model will represent the countries where our authors are from or where books were published. Let's keep it simple and give it two properties. The ID is our unique identifier, and name will store the country's name, like France, USA, or Japan. Later, we'll connect this model with our author model, so each author can have an associated country. This helps us organize our data and relationships clearly. Now let's add one more model, this time for category. Every book belongs to a specific category, like fiction, science, or biography. Inside the Models folder, right-click and create a new class named Category CS. Just like our other models, we'll keep it simple with two properties. The ID will be the unique identifier for each category, and name will store the name of the category itself. Later on, we'll connect this model to our book class so that each book can have one category, and that will help us organize our API data much more cleanly. All right, now it's time to add one of the most important parts of our app, the review model. Inside the Models folder, right-click and create a new class named Review.cs. This model will represent the reviews that users leave for books. Let's start by adding an ID property. This will act as our primary key. A primary key is a special column in a database that uniquely identifies each record. For example, if we have 100 reviews, the primary key makes sure each review can be found individually. No duplicates, no confusion. Here's what each one does. ID uniquely identifies each review, our primary key. Title, a short headline for the review. Text, the full review content written by the user. Review date, when the review was posted. Reviewer, the name of the person who wrote it. Book, this links the review to the specific book being reviewed. Later, when we connect our database using Entity Framework, this book property will create a relationship between the review table and the book table, showing which review belongs to which book. Now, let's add one more model, this time for the reviewer. Inside the Models folder, right-click and create a new class named Reviewer.cs. This model will represent the users who actually write reviews for books. Let's add three simple properties. The ID will be our primary key, just like in other models. It uniquely identifies each reviewer in the database. The first name and last name properties store the reviewer's name. Later on, we'll connect this model to our review class so that every review will be linked to the reviewer who wrote it. That relationship will help us track who posted each review and make our data more organized and meaningful. Now, let's go back to our book model and set up a relationship between books and reviews. A single book can have many reviews, but each review belongs to only one book. That's what we call a one-to-many relationship. To represent that, we'll add a collection of reviews inside our book class. Let's open the book model and add this property. This line tells our application that a book can contain multiple reviews. When we connect our models to a database later with Entity Framework, this relationship will automatically create a foreign key in the reviews table that points back to the book it belongs to. In simple terms, think of it like this. One book has many reviews, but each review has only one book. This kind of relationship is very common in database design, and it helps us keep our data structured and easy to query later. Now, let's do the same thing for our country model. Each country can have multiple authors who come from that country. And this is another example of a one-to-many relationship. One country has many authors. To represent that in our model, let's open Country Model and add a new collection property. This property tells Entity Framework that one country can be linked to many authors. Just like before, when we create the database, EF will automatically set up a foreign key inside the author table that points back to the country it belongs to. So now, our data model is starting to take shape. Now, let's go back to our reviewer model and add another relationship. A single reviewer can write many reviews, but each review belongs to only one reviewer. That's another classic one-to-many relationship. To represent that, let's open the reviewer model and add a collection of reviews. This tells our application, and later, Entity Framework, that each reviewer can be linked to multiple reviews. When we build the database, EF Core will automatically create a foreign key inside the review table that connects each review to its reviewer. In simple terms, one reviewer has many reviews. One review has one reviewer. This makes it easy to query all the reviews written by a specific person or find out who posted a particular review later in the app. Now, let's move over to our author model and set up a link between authors and countries. We know that every author comes from a specific country, so this relationship is a many-to-one. Many authors can belong to one country. To represent that, let's open Author class and add a new property. This tells our application that each author has one country associated with them. When we connect this to a database, Entity Framework will automatically create a foreign key inside the author table that points to the country this author belongs to. A foreign key is simply a reference from one table to another. In this case, from the author table back to the country table. So now our data model is starting to make more sense. Countries have many authors, and each author belongs to exactly one country. Now let's do the same thing for our review model. We already know that one reviewer can write many reviews, but each review should belong to only one reviewer. So let's open Review Model and add a new property for the reviewer. Now let's create one more model to connect our books and categories together. A book can belong to many categories, and each category can include many books. That's what we call a many-to-many relationship. To represent that, inside the Models folder, let's add a new class named Book Category. Here's what's happening. ID is the primary key for this table. Category ID will act as a link to the category table. The book property references which book belongs to this entry, and the category property points to the specific category. So each record in this table will connect one book with one category, and together they form a many-to-many relationship between the two tables. This design keeps your database organized and makes it super easy to query all categories for a given book, or all books under a certain category. Now, let's create one more model, this time to connect our books and authors together. A single book can be written by many authors, and one author can write many books. So this is another many-to-many relationship. Inside the Models folder, let's add a new class named Book Author. Here's what each part does. Book ID links to the book table. Author ID links to the author table. The book property represents the book itself, and the author property represents the author who wrote it. Together, each record in this table connects one specific author with one specific book. And that's how Entity Framework understands the many-to-many relationship between them. So later, when we create our database, we'll be able to easily find all authors for a given book, or all books written by a particular author. Now that we've created our book author and book category models, let's go back to our book class and connect everything together. Remember, one book can have many authors and also belong to many categories. To represent those relationships, let's open the book file and add two new collection properties. The first property, Book Authors, connects this book to all of its authors through the Book Author Bridge table. The second one, Book Categories, links this book to all of its categories through the Book Category model. When we build the database, Entity Framework will automatically understand that these are many-to-many relationships, and it will handle all the foreign keys and linking tables for us. In other words, a book can have many authors and belong to many categories. Each author and category can also be shared across different books. This structure gives us a flexible and realistic way to represent books and their relationships in our API. Let's do the same thing inside our author model. Remember, one author can write many books, and one book can have many authors. So this is a many-to-many relationship. Now, let's finish setting up our relationships by updating the category model.